Thank you, Dr. Peretti. It's a pleasure to be here. And if you're listening to this presentation, you are a member of the Department of Family and Preventive Medicine at UAMS. And what I would like to do is cover some information that will help you. The topic is strategies for maintaining or enhancing a team's functioning. So as a member of the department, you are part of a team. We will discuss that in detail. I have no relevant, or I might add, no additional irrelevant relationships to disclose. The procedures is I value your participation in the session, and since you are at a remote site, please use the chat feature to ask questions or comment on any topic as we proceed on. And I have some well-trained and very professional people who are going to help me with this. I also thank you in advance for responding to the poll questions that are embedded within the talk. Here are the objectives for today's session. I will let you read through those on your own. As time allows, if you have additional topics you would like to discuss related to this issue, please use the chat function to let us know, and we'll accommodate those as well as possible. So the relevance of the topic. We all serve on teams. We have those teams in our professional and our personal lives. You've probably served on numerous teams in your professional career, and you probably serve on various teams related to your family, religious organizations, civic organizations. So the topic of teams, I think, is very relevant to every person. Medicine especially, because family medicine is a team sport. At the age of 6, I was exposed to my first medical team. Consisted of Dr. Meisenheimer, a family physician in my hometown, and his nurse, who was named Susie. Dr. Meisenheimer was very smooth talking, very slow, very competent. Susie, I still remember, dressed as a nurse in her nurse's uniform, and she had blazing red hair. I distinctly remember having a sore throat, mentioning it to my dad, and he told me to get in the car, and I knew where we were going. We ended up at Dr. Meisenheimer's. Dr. Meisenheimer got a piece of wood, stuck it in my throat, and told me to say, ah. Then he shook his head and he told Susie, get the hypodermic syringe. And I knew what was coming. He told me to get off the exam table, slightly pull down my pants, and I knew my throat was going to get better. The only thing I didn't know was how that injection was going to get from where he put it up to my neck. But you know, I got better. And I've been exposed, and I still have a personal family physician who, by the way, graduated from our residency. She's a native of the Philippines and was a nurse before she became a physician and then later a family physician. She works as a part of the team in the clinic, and in fact, she is the medical director of the clinic. If you look over to the diagram, you will see something that was published from the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. It's a diagram of the relationships. I would also point you to this area here, community health workers, or in San Antonio, we call those promotores. 10 years ago, I'd never heard of community health worker. Now, we have about 12 working in the department. And I understand you have even more working with you across the different programs. Our jury faculty see patients in home visits accompanied by the promotores. And the promotores are a valuable part of the team, and they give insight into factors that are affecting the patient's health and how the families, many with limited resources, can care for patients and their family members. I want to underscore that every single member of a team contributes and is a valuable part of that team. If you are a part of a team and you lend your expertise in whatever area is relevant, you are a valuable member. It also is important to remember that you as a team member or leader significantly contribute to the satisfaction that the team members have. I've been on some teams that weren't all that well functioning, and it was not a pleasure to be on those teams. Your department emphasizes teams. This is from your website. We actively seek candidates who are excited and eager to join a team of dynamic faculty and non-faculty members who make a difference in the community on a daily basis. A successful candidate will demonstrate knowledge, integrity, enthusiasm, and commitment to work in an intellectually stimulating environment of diverse teachers and learners. Now, there's a lot said there. So some of the topics we're going to talk about is how to make those teams function better and how to use strategies to select people to be on teams. I want to present two cases. I'll let you read it as I read it. The Family Medicine Department's chair and other leaders meet monthly to discuss issues and share updates on division activities. The chair leads the meetings, and the attendees are division chiefs and other faculty in leadership positions. One of those, for example, is Dr. A, the medical director of the department's downtown clinic. Well into the meeting, the chair asked Dr. A, the medical director, would you tell us about the plans to increase the number of PEDS patients seen in your clinic? Dr. A replied, we do want to increase the number of PEDS patients seen, but I'm aware of any specific plans at the moment to accomplish that. Then the chair replied, well, Dr. B's email, Dr. B is a member of the clinical team at that clinic. Dr. B's email to me yesterday said Dr. C, that's another member of the clinic's team, and he were planning to, we're meeting later today to just formulate some strategies. Please update at our next meeting. Part two. At that clinic later that morning, Dr. A, the medical director, summoned Drs. B and C, two colleagues to the clinic, to her office. Dr. A said, in today's leadership meeting, our chair asked me about our plans to increase the number of PEDS patients seen at our clinic. When I told him I didn't know anything about this, he said you, Dr. B, had informed him via email yesterday that Dr. C and you were meeting today to discuss strategies. This caught me completely off guard. What's going on? Okay, that's one case. And the next one, this is a similar group of people, different situation. In the clinicians meeting at the family medicine department's down clinic, Dr. A, the medical director, expresses concern about the decreasing number of PEDS patients seen at the clinic. This is a meeting at the clinic. She asked the team for guidance on how to remedy this. During lunch, Doctors B and C decide to approach Dr. A, the medical director, with some ideas the next morning. Dr. A likes their ideas and asks them to share their ideas in the next clinicians meeting. When they do, two other physicians, Doctors D and E, say they like the ideas to add, and they have other suggestions. Dr. A appoints the four clinicians to a committee and suggests reviewing this as a scholarly project that also includes the department's other clinics. Dr. E, who graduated from a local residency, not connected with the department, suggests involving her residency since it faces the same issue. And doing that would increase the number of potential data points. Dr. A also agrees to inform the chair, department's research director, and program director about the proposed project and tell them who's involved. Dr. A also says she will ask the research director to help plan and disseminate the project and the residency director to involve interested residents in the project. Now fast forward a couple of years. The project has been planned, implemented, and evaluated. A small research grant was obtained to cover travel costs to present at meetings. Residents and faculty presented the process and outcomes to colleagues at the state and national levels, plus an article will soon be submitted describing the project and its outcomes. Two cases, two similar people. So here's the audience response question. What is the difference between Team A and Team B members? Team A members, are they more intelligent? Do they have more experience? Are they better team players? Are they more motivated? Or does Team 1's leader have less experience in executing major projects? So use your device and please respond, and we will get those tallied and I will report to you what the results are. So if you could participate in that, we will officially recognize your participation as a team member. Fabulous. 73% say Team 2 members are better team players. That's exactly right. Some people said, 17% said that Team 2 members are more motivated. That could possibly be the correct response, but I'm sure they had similar motivations on both teams. And we had about 8% say that Team 1's leader is less experienced in major projects. That could contribute to it, because if the leader had given sessions on communication and sharing, that could have possibly prevented this. Now, here's another question. Given your experience as a team member, this is across all teams that you have been on, and this could be possibly up in the hundreds or even 1,000 or more, if you count your childhood, the T-ball team, teams at your residency, etc. So as you can see, given your experiences, guesstimate the percentage of those teams on which you have served that have functioned at a good level or higher. And a good level or higher to me means that it was a pleasure being on the team. You had good outcomes. You enjoyed it. It was fun to be on the team. Less than good, it was you almost threw up when you thought about the team. So we'll tally those. All right, 64%, between 25 to 50%. D, about 30%, 51 to 85%. And E, about 7%. Well, I certainly agree with that. One of the things that stands out is I didn't see anybody who responded to A or B. And if you did respond to that, we have a licensed therapist available by phone to help you. Now that's joking about it, but being on a non-functioning team is no fun. Now here's my response. I would say somewhere between 86 to 99%. I've had really good experiences being on teams. It was fun. I enjoyed meeting people, getting to know them, having them get to know me, producing outcomes that were good for others and for ourselves. So this is why I answered that. Been very positive, produced important income or outcomes, made new friends, expanded my professional network, connected well with mentors and proteges, really shaped my career, actually helped me get jobs, being on teams and serving on teams, and has given me many great memories, one of which relates to your chair, Dr. Croletti. I was his mentor as part of an STFM Society for Teachers of Family Medicine. And it was a fellowship activity recognizing rising stars in family medicine. And certainly he was a star then, he's a star now. But I've had a few unpleasant experiences. I was with a medical student education group in Texas, and the different people from the various med schools met. We were a collegial group. We all knew each other for a number of years. We'd get together once a year, usually in Dallas. We'd go to a hotel, conference room. We'd present things that we were doing, have discussions, have lunch together, talk, catch up, who had had kids, what their kids were doing, things they were doing at their school. Finish up in the afternoon and completed about 5 o'clock so people could catch their flights home. Well, one time, a person not a member of the group decided that he wanted to come. So he asked the person in med student education, I'd really like to go to that. That person said, okay, good. This person came in and took over. He dominated the discussion. He stopped people in the middle of presentations. Everybody was looking at one another. What's going on with this guy? He's disrupting the group. So we had a break and we huddled. So we knew it wouldn't be wise for the person who had the person come to the meeting to confront the individual, But one of the seasoned people in the group said, I'll just take care of it. So met privately in the hall with the person, and the person accepted the feedback very well. Came back, made a few contributions, but stopped what they were doing. That was an unpleasant experience for all of us, but I learned something about it. Letting the inappropriate behaviors continue is going to lead to a bad outcome. We would have had a bad day. And so people would have felt badly about it, and we didn't want that. Now, functional teams. The leaders and the members of well-functioning teams have to constantly strive and work to maintain the team. It's like your patient. You address health issues, but you also address prevention. This is a prevention issue. There are things you can do to maintain or even enhance teamwork. And when that happens, you have more member satisfaction and you have productivity. Dysfunctional teams do exist. Can you think of anywhere in the United States there are dysfunctional groups? I'm not going to mention anybody. But you have to think about, why are those groups dysfunctional? We'll talk about that. So what jeopardizes a team's functioning to the point that it becomes dysfunctional? Well, let's discuss the factors that contribute to dysfunction. I would recommend you read this book. If you intend to go into private practice, join a practice that already exists, join a department, whatever you want to go into, this is a good book to invest in. It costs you $15. It's not a didactic book in terms of hard reading, and it doesn't take you 3 weeks to read it. It's written as a fable. It's a realistic story about a team, and it models how to deal with those dysfunctions. There's a website that also gives really good information about how to do things like faculty development sessions related to the topic. Now, let's look at what the dysfunctions are and a little bit of description. This is a pyramid. The first dysfunction, and the basis of all dysfunctions, is absence of trust. Next comes fear of conflict, then lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. That's the pyramid. Remember, the base of which is lack or absence of trust. Trust is essential for any team to function effectively, whether it's in our personal lives or in our professional lives. The absence of trust, that's the fear of vulnerability that impedes building trust. If someone says something that's untoward, if they do something that shows disrespect, that erodes trust. Fear of conflict, it's the drive to preserve artificial harmony. In other words, do anything you can do possibly to make things better by not addressing the issue. This interferes with what Lencioni calls productive ideological conflict. Lack of commitment. It's lack of clarity and or buy-in prevents members from making decisions they follow. The group may make decisions, but they don't necessarily follow through on completing and doing the work associated with those. Avoidance of accountability. The need to avoid interpersonal discomfort prevents members from holding others accountable for behaviors and performance. You've been in groups before where people behaved inappropriately. Did you notice how reluctant you were to bring that up? And when you didn't bring it up and address it, the behavior continued or it even got worse. Inattention to results, the pursuit of individual goals and personal status erodes the team's function on collective success. I've been in groups where we were focused on, for example, oral health. Clinicians, educators working together. That was our passion to address that. We came up with the Smiles for Life program. I wrote off that committee after about 8 years, and other people are doing it now. They have a website you can search for Smiles for Life. It's online. You can get CME credit for it. It teaches you about oral health problems. We all did that because we were passionate about it. We all did it because we knew there was very little education that people could get online about oral health. And we knew that, really, if you look at it, who really studies oral health the most? It's the dentist, not the physician. So these are the dysfunctions. Now, the flashback. Later that morning at the clinic, Dr. A, the medical director, summoned Doctors B and C to her office. He said, in today's leadership meeting, our chair asked me about our plans to increase the number of PEDS patients in our clinic. When I told him I didn't know about this, he mentioned that you, Dr. B, had informed him yesterday by email that Dr. C and you were going to meet to discuss strategies. This info caught me completely off guard. What's going on? So this is the third polling question. What is the emergent dysfunction within this team? Is it absence of trust? Is it fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, or inattention to results? Please respond to the poll. %72% say that it's absence of trust. I certainly agree with that. 33% say avoidance of accountability. That could be true too. I can see that. And then inattention to results, that's about 8% or so. So those two could be true, but to me, it's absence of trust. Put yourself in the position of the medical director. Would you trust your two colleagues as much after this incident happened? After all, Dr. A is probably thinking, the chair doesn't think I know what's going on in my clinic. I have people planning things that they don't even tell me about. I'm left out in the cold. I look bad in front of my colleagues, other leaders sitting at the table. Those are all relevant feelings, I think. So that's why communication is so important. Following the chain of command. You don't go directly to the chair. If you're a member of a committee, it's the committee chair does that. You work things out in the committee. If you have issues, you resolve those within the group. Your colleagues, you have mutual interest. So this is how this book has helped me. It gave me a framework for knowing what I could do to better understand other team members, to enhance the functioning of the group. Also gave me insight into factors that were making teams or individual team members struggle. I worked with teams in the department and outside the department and individuals who were working. I've worked with people who were struggling almost to the point of being fired because they couldn't pick up on cues that people were giving them, that they were being aggressive rather than assertive or not being collegial. And I worked with one physician who later resigned because he had the innate ability to anger any patient at any time. And that didn't really mix well with our chair's position of we're here to serve the patients and help them. He could make anybody angry. And it didn't matter what socioeconomic status they had, ethnicity, anything. He had that gift. He just didn't get it. So eventually he had to leave to somewhere where he could excel. So being a good team member, you have to be alert to how others perceive you. It also gave me a positive perspective that helps me work with leaders and team members to maintain or enhance their productivity, because most teams can do at least one thing better. And that's my goal. I want to give you some tips that will help you enhance your team's productivity at home, in the community, and at work within the next 24 hours. And this is what I've turned it into to make it a positive thing. The bottom of the triangle is develops or maintains trust. So that when you sit at the table, people trust you. They know that you're not there to up yourself in front of anybody. You're there to contribute to the team. You appreciate conflict. I said appreciate. I don't want everybody to say, that's the best idea I've ever heard. I value people who say, you know, that's a good start, but you could tweak it this way or tweak it that way. Requires commitment. I mean, everybody's commitment, not just the leader of the team. You embrace accountability. We all fall short, so there's some understanding there. So you were sick for 2 weeks. You didn't complete that part that you were supposed to. I understand. We'll give you some more time. Do you need some help with that? The focus is on the team success. And then attention to results. Making sure you produce something that's worthwhile. And there's some interventions that can help teams. And they typically address a dysfunction that's either latent or just outright. And plan and implement these interventions thoughtfully and quickly. Here's one. And I use this. Patrick Lencioni's book, The Ideal Team Player, talks about the 3 essential virtues of an ideal team player in a fable. And he illustrates those. This is a good buy. It's about 20-some cents cheaper than the other book. This is about the good stuff. And here are the next 2 slides. The 3 attributes. And you can think about yourself as a team member and compare yourself with this. You're hungry, you're humble, and you're smart. Now, if the department looks at a clinician, they're typically going to say, needs a medical license, maybe board certified. Those are the things that are the basics. This is the next level. Now, what do these mean? Hungry means you strive to make the team productive. You don't do things that inhibit the team or cause distrust. You understand people. You're humble. It doesn't mean you say, I am the less knowledgeable person on the face of the earth. I don't know anything. That's not the type of humble I'm talking about. I'm talking about humble in terms of you think more of others than you do yourself. And I've seen that as an attribute of real leaders. They think more of their people, the people they serve, the people they teach, more than they think of themselves. They're not out for accolades. But guess what? They get those because they're an ideal team member. But here's the key, and here's the hooker. They're smart. And I don't mean they're intelligent. It's more than intelligence. It's being able to collaborate well with and understand others. You might think of emotional intelligence. Dr. Nato, a close colleague, is a program director in San Antonio. He and I and a number of other people were interviewing an applicant for a faculty position. My office is in the Health Science Center. The residency is 10 miles away. So I went down to interview so they wouldn't have to bounce the person around all day. So I asked the associate program director if I could use her office, and she said, sure. So I took the applicant in the room and have a seat, sat down in front of her desk. He just happened to see a document. This was the day after match, and this is the Friday, and there was a list of all the applicants or all the people who had matched with the program and where they were from and that sort of thing. He looked at me and he said, your program has a lot of international medical grads. My program doesn't have any international medical grads. We fill all from American school. That's interesting. The reason we have that is we have patients who speak about 12 different languages, and we pick residents who can deal with people and they understand the culture, the languages, and they appreciate the slot. I also said to myself, no, you're not going to fit here. That thought was reinforced when we took the person out to dinner that night. To a nice place, and you were talking, server came up, good evening, welcome to the restaurant. What can I get you to drink? And may I tell you about tonight's specials? So she talked about one special. We have trout. You can either get it filleted, you can get it fried, broiled, or you can have the whole fish broiled. So he said to the server, why would I want to see the whole fish and its head and its eyes looking at me while I eat it? If I wanted to see that, I would go out and catch the fish. Dr. Nato and I looked together, our eyes met, and I knew what he was thinking. Basically, it was a wasted trip. Now, you have to be smart. You have to know when to keep your mouth shut and when to talk. You have to respect people and show that in what you say and what you do. There's a YouTube video of a neurology resident who, on a weekend, went out and had too much to drink and got in a fracas with, I think it was a Lyft driver. And it appeared on YouTube. Somebody filmed it. This happened on, I think it was a Friday or a Saturday evening. Monday by noon, the person was fired. Was that resident a good team member? No. Well, why? It was off duty. Wasn't it the residency? Wasn't interacting with patients. It was a bad image for the hospital, the department. So being smart helps. So these are the interventions. Use interventions to promote and reward teamwork. You got to reward teamwork. It's like everything else. Positive reinforcement enhances repetition. You have to encourage team members. You work hard. You do a good job. You keep your nose to the grindstone. You need encouragement. That's one of the things Dr. Nadeau emphasizes. He goes around and he says, I saw you presented this poster. You really made us look good. I appreciate you doing that. Got the in-training scores. I saw you did really well. I appreciate it. I know you've been studying. He reinforces that with faculty and residents. Forms new members about teamwork principles during onboarding. Let them know you're working as a team and what you expect. Tell them about the culture. Recognize and acknowledge teamwork. Visit a team if you're not on it, if you're a leader, and thank them for what they're doing. This is, we had 5 people promoted earlier this week, it was announced, and Dr. Hyanson, the chair, sent an email to all the members of the department, staff, faculty, expressing thanks to the people and congratulating them on the promotion. Then he also sent a letter to, same email to everybody. And thank you to Professor Basil Dua, chair of the department's promotion and tenure committee, Cheryl Gorman. Cheryl is the department's admin person who assists the chair, and all who supported these faculty members. Celebrate as a group, acknowledge what people do. Cheryl takes their CVs and buffs them up, corrects errors and that sort of thing. So everybody contributed. Home members' leadership and teamwork skills and regular faculty development sessions. You might also add, you can also do this in residency didactics. One of the things we do is we have round speakers that come in and introduce topics on leadership, and we have those from other departments, our department, etc. Promote trust by having team members know one another better and share unique knowledge and experiences and skills. You can actually do this. Ask each member to describe their interest outside of medicine, the jobs they had before their medical careers, and special knowledge and or skills they possess. Did this exercise in a residency retreat one time. And it was amazing because it was a very diverse group of residents, and the faculty were there. And they had worked with these residents for at least 6 months, but maybe more than that, a couple of years even. And the residents got up and told things about themselves. One had been a neurosurgeon, another an OBGYN. They talked about their experiences. And I am always surprised by what our faculty have done. One of the things I do is I help them with their personal reflective narratives or personal statements for promotion. It's 3 pages and they have to complete something and turn it in. One recently, I found out that someone I knew for a long time was an artist, a painter. And that was his second passion. And we started off the paragraph with, my 2 passions in life are painting and medicine. And then that was the first paragraph to draw people in. So get to know people. You'll be surprised what they've done. Acknowledge and accommodate differences among individuals. Have you taken the Myers-Briggs? If you haven't, I suggest you do. You'll find that there are 4 personality types. I'm not going to go into detail, but one you can relate to quickly is introversion versus extroversion. And one of the things I've seen in conflicts is if somebody is an introvert, they like to think about issues before they discuss it. But extroverts in general tend to want to discuss things before they come to a decision. But you put two of them together, and if the extrovert talks and gives all the ideas to the introvert suffers from cognitive overload. I got to think about this. This is too much. On the other hand, if the introvert says, let's stop and in silence think about this, the extrovert says, no, I have to talk. I have to talk. If they come to an agreement, a consensus, things will work out better. And in one specific case, we learned that if we were going to meet with a particular leader, we had to send an email a week in advance, giving the agenda and asking, I need your help thinking about this issue. Everything was cool. But in meetings when that didn't happen, one person, he would start yelling at the person. So working as a team. Manage team meetings, send out agendas in advance, start on time, encourage everyone to contribute, end on time. That's one of the things I did as chair of a number of committees. People were busy in clinic. They would get there late. They would need to leave early. So I cut the meeting time in half. And I said, we'll start at 12:15, gives you time to get here, bring your lunch. We'll end at 12:45 so you can make it back to clinic on time. That doesn't give us a whole lot of time, so we have to be very, very efficient in the way we address things. People loved it, and it saved them time. Embrace productive conflict or differences of opinion with passion, unfiltered debate. I welcome skeptics, but I want them to trust me. I've actually done this. Someone said, I don't think your idea will work. And that put me on edge. I got uncomfortable. But I talked about the issue with the person who gives the Myers-Briggs and discuss it. I said, Jim, that person is your friend. They can tell you how to make it work. So take them aside, say, I value your opinion. Would you give me some suggestions on how we could make it work here? And the person would say, well, back in 1980, when we tried to do this, it didn't work because. And if you do this, it might have a better chance. So you get the person on your team. Treat them with respect. Then get commitment. Commitment is not consensus. Consensus is when you vote and 3 or 4 people say, I vote against it, but it passes. More people were for it. So think about this. Buy-in is intelligent, driven team members buy into a decision even when they don't naturally agree with it. They say, because I'm a member of the team, I may not agree with it, but I'll do everything I can to make it succeed. Clarity. All members must clearly understand what it is that they're agreeing or committing to. And one way to achieve that is to have the leader at the end of the meeting say, exactly what have we decided to do today, and get everybody to state that. That way, people understand what they're committing to. Might also add, you could send a follow-up email, or in the meeting minutes, you can discuss that and list it. Set specific, measurable objectives for the team. We have to do this when we give a presentation. We have to write objectives. Have objectives that specify what you're going to do so they can be measured. And they have to be specific and measurable. You don't want to say, we want to increase patient satisfaction. Well, how can you measure that? You have to have some sort of a metric to do that. Use the team effectiveness exercise to achieve accountability. Now, this takes about an hour, so this takes a meeting. So everybody answers 2 questions about everybody on the team around the table except themselves. Question 1, what is the single most important behavioral characteristic or quality this person demonstrates that contributes to the strength of our team? The second question, what's the single most important behavioral characteristic or quality this person demonstrates that can sometimes derail the team? Which one would you like to hear the most? Your strength or something you need to work on? For me, I'd like to hear my strength. But it's like giving feedback to a student or a resident or a faculty member. We want to make them feel good, so we want to deliver the feedback in a way that's not hurtful. But yet, we realize they cannot improve unless they hear what they need to work on. So it has to be done in a sensitive way. But you can actually do this. The leader starts off, reads the responses, and you'll see people shine and beam when they hear the strength. They get a little bit more uncomfortable when it's something they need to work on. But everybody hears something they need to work on. And when everybody's finished, the leader gives their general reactions. All right, this exercise is important because it helps achieve accountability by reminding everyone that each person has strengths and behaviors that affect the team. There is no one on the team that lacks a strength or has something they don't need to work on. And as long as we remember that, we're all equal. It empowers each member to remind one another when they are not living up to the team's performance standards. And this can be done, you can share this. You can say this to anybody during the committee. Usually it's done at the end, or you can do it in private. But remember, you share the responsibility. It's not just the leaders who have to do this. You have to do it. Then, give the team visual feedback about their progress toward meeting the objectives they set and agreed upon. Reviewing the progress frequently is important in presenting data and measurements. Think about the data you get back. Do you get data back on your clinical productivity? That's like a dashboard. Patient satisfaction? Yes. So you can use that to maintain your strengths, but also to work on areas. So that's why it's useful to keep this up for the committee or the team. Be ready to deal with egos. And we don't run into many of those in academics, do we? Egos. There are plenty out there. Many of you are seasoned people who have successfully led small and large groups in and outside of medicine. So we have 1 or 2 minutes. I think we're about ready to wrap up. But if you will use the chat feature and let us know, we'll try to address those. Likewise, if you have questions, please use the chat feature to do that. And main points, the prevalence and importance of teams in your personal life, patient care, medical education, and scholarly activity, dysfunctions of the team, and interventions you can use or adapt to maintain or enhance the team's functioning. So I sincerely thank Dr. Crowley for inviting me here. It's been a pleasure being in the department, meeting the faculty, later today meeting his family, presenting this grand rounds and participate in his investiture. It's really an honor. Special thanks to so many people who contributed to making my visit a rewarding one. And this goes out to staff, residents, and faculty who participated in this session. And I would just say, Dr. Crowley, you have a great team. And both in Little Rock and across the state, probably the largest group of people in a department in the United States. So I hope everyone recognizes their role in the team and what you can do to team with your colleagues and Dr. Perletti to making your team even better.